This part begins. And the servant attacks Xiao Lingling. And we see that due to the servant's attack, there is an explosion at that place. And he is saying, "Young master, how about this move of mine?" But Gu Feng is saying, "Stop showing off, we can't stay here, let's get going." And the servant attacks again, and he is saying, "Hold on, young master, let me finish her off first." But then Xiao Lingling catches the servant's weapon, and says to him, "You old golden core 5th stage waste." And Xiao Lingling destroys the servant's weapon in one go, and she is saying, "If it weren't for stabilizing Kuner's cultivation, the empty spirit power causing backlash from the nether runes, and the temporary sealing, killing you would be effortless. At this point, I don't care about this nascent soul stage cultivation, everyone must die." And Xiao Lingling thrusts her sword through the servant's chest. But while dying, the servant is saying, "The spies reported. Your strength was weak." "How?" "Young master, I couldn't hold the ground, I've let you down." And the servant falls on the ground covered in blood. Seeing this, Gu Feng gets very angry and he runs towards the servant and says to him, "You promised to manage my accounts for life. What kind of joke is this? How am I supposed to save you like this?" And Gu Feng remembers the moments spent with the servant, that how the servant used to silence him when he used to cry and always saved him from being bullied. And he always used to roam around with him, and he always used to say, "Young master has extraordinary talent. Truly a prodigy in cultivation." And remembering all these things, Gu Feng is crying a lot, and he is saying, "This was supposed to be a story of a main character pretending to be weak, then using cheats in cultivation. Why is this happening?" And Jiolong also feels bad seeing the servant dead. And he tries to go down. But then the second uncle comes in front of Gu Feng and says to him, "Where do you think you're going?" And Xiao Lingling again moves forward to attack, and Gu Feng comes in front of her, and he is saying, "Come on. Kill me if you dare. Even as a ghost, I won't let you off." And as soon as Xiao Lingling is about to attack Gu Feng with a sword, a barrier is formed in front of Gu Feng, due to which Xiao Lingling's sword stops. And Gu Feng is shocked to see this. The divine dragon bears the map and emerges from weak water. The colorful phoenix carries the book to the jade-green clouds and stars. By the command of the Wind Empress, it transforms into text, gazing upon the celestial mystery. The primordial essence begins from here. And this is the spirit which is Gu Feng's mother. And she has come to save Gu Feng. And Gu Feng is shocked to see her because he still does not recognize that the spirit is his mother. Then Gu Feng's mother attacks Xiao Lingling. And we see that due to Gu Feng's mother's attack, Xiao Lingling now slowly starts disappearing. And in a little while she is about to disappear. And the second uncle is fighting with Jiolong, and when his attention goes towards Gu Feng's mother, he gets very shocked, and he says this. This is a remnant soul left by a powerful cultivator at the transformation stage before their death. Lingling, run quickly! But looking at Xiao Lingling, it seems that it is too late now. And Gu Feng's mother wipes out Xiao Lingling. And Gu Feng is very confused as to who is in front of him. And he is also asking, but his mother says, "No need to ask more." Then she starts refining a treasure, and seeing this, second uncle starts moving towards her very fast, and he is saying, "An evil technique of refining a remnant soul. How dare she use a cultivator's nascent soul and her own remnant soul to refine a treasure? I need to stop her quickly." But Jiolong does not want to let second uncle do this, so he attacks him. On the other side we see that Nalin Yuan is fighting with Yi Tianchen, and he has injured Yi Tianchen. And he is telling the soldiers to catch Yi Tianchen. Then all the soldiers start moving towards Yi Tianchen, and Nalin Yuan is thinking, today's capture mission is going to be a big mess. But then Gu Feng's mother gets angry, and she is saying, "Fools who don't know their place." And she comes in front of Gu Feng and kills all of them with her one attack. And seeing this, everyone is very shocked, and Gu Feng is thinking, could this be the mother of this body? Then we see that Gu Feng's mother has made a treasure. And seeing this, Nalin Yuan is very shocked, and he is saying, this is an innate Tao embryo. Impossible, no one's nascent soul can produce this. Unless. And Jiolong is saying, it's indeed her, feeling guilty, and using her last remnant soul to refine a treasure, sigh. And the second uncle says such means such a treasure. And Gu Feng's mother says to Gu Feng, Gu, this is the last gift from your mother. I hope you live a peaceful life, without worry or sorrow. Today, you are indeed fortunate. And Gu Feng gets emotional after seeing his mother. But now it is time for his mother to leave, so she disappears. And we see that Gu Feng has something in his hand, and then the servant becomes alive, and he says to Gu Feng, young master? Why am I lying in your arms? It's so warm and comfortable. But Gu Feng gets angry after listening to the servant's words, and Gu Feng throws the servant away, and says to him, Hey! Old man, you're exposing yourself. But then many people start coming to that place, who together start surrounding Gu Feng. And seeing this, second uncle becomes very happy, and he is thinking, Gu Feng, everything you have will become mine. Then the second uncle goes to the front, and he is saying, now all the forces of Howren City are gathered here. Gu Feng, even if you have more tricks up your sleeve, you won't be able to escape. Surrender, explain everything clearly, and hand over Yi Tianchen. Maybe Howren City will still have a place for you. And we see Jiolong who is feeling something. And Gu Feng is saying to them, old man, do you dare say these words in front of my father? And Yi Tianchen says, if it's a fight you want, then a fight you'll get. I, Yi Tianchen, will take responsibility for my own actions. And the second uncle says, even if Gu Liantian comes out of seclusion, he won't be able to protect you now. But then golden light starts coming down from the sky, seeing which the second uncle is surprised. And he is saying, the divine king's envoy has arrived. Kneel and welcome him. And we see that a person is coming down from the sky sitting on a chariot. And the second uncle bows his head in front of that person. And he is saying, Gu Huai of the Gu family, leading the cultivators of Howren City, greets the divine king's envoy, and all the soldiers kneel down to give respect to that man and greet him. But Gu Feng is confused and he is saying to Jiolong, in this situation, isn't it useless to pretend? And Jiolong says, no killing intent. I'll take the old Wu and leave first. And the servant says, I will live and die with the young master. Let go of me. And Gu Feng is thinking, what? What's going on? Are they really going to abandon us in such a leisurely manner? I have a bad feeling that this comic is about to end. Damn it, we haven't even enjoyed the excitement yet, and it's ending? And the second uncle says, how dare you? You criminals, kneel and pay respects upon seeing the envoy. And Gu Feng gets confused after listening to the second uncle's words, and the second uncle is laughing and thinking, the divine king's envoy of the eastern domain has personally come to capture Yi Tianchen. I have assisted, and with Gu Feng's foolish actions, Howren City is within my grasp. Then we see that person, and he says, no worries. And Gu Feng is looking at him and thinking, Jiolong said there's no killing intent. Could it be? Then the envoy says the main matter is more important. Announcing the divine king's decree. Rebellious Yi Tianchen, disrespecting the law, arrogant and conceited. And Yi Tianchen is saying, stop listening to this nonsense. I'd rather die here. At least I won't cause more trouble for Brother Gu. And Gu Feng stops Yi Tianchen and tells her that you should listen to him till the end. And the envoy further says, but, considering her exceptional talent and limitless potential, the divine king cherishes talent, thus, her crimes are pardoned, effective immediately, the divine king's hunt for her is cancelled, and she is registered in Howren City as a cultivator. And as soon as the second uncle hears the envoy's words, he gets very shocked, and he says, impossible. It doesn't make sense. Why would the divine king pardon a rebel like this? And after listening to second uncle, the envoy gets angry and says, are you questioning the divine king's decree? And after listening to the envoy, second uncle gets nervous and Gu Feng is smiling and thinking, talking about cherishing talent, even dogs wouldn't believe it. In the eastern domain with its billions of cultivators, dozens of prodigies emerge every year. Cherishing talent? Can the divine king cherish them all? And Gu Feng says to Yi Tianchen, hey sister Yi, didn't know you had such connections to be pardoned like this. Tell me, which senior helped you out? Introduce me, won't you? And Yi Tianqian says, I really don't know what happened. So Gu Feng says, still pretending, huh? That's just too much. And the envoy takes Gu Feng's name, so Gu Feng waves his hand and tells the envoy that I am Gu Feng. And the envoy starts looking at Gu Feng. And Yi Tianqian says to Gu Feng, Brother Gu, since things have already ended, there's no need to make a fuss for my sake. And Gu Feng says, hey, I'm just like this normally, speaking my mind freely, I believe the envoy won't mind. And Gu Feng is thinking, something unusual is definitely going on. Let's see what this Eastern Domain Divine King is planning. And Yi Tianqian says, Brother Gu's straightforward nature truly combines pride and integrity. And we see Uncle, who is getting very angry, and the envoy is thinking, looking at Gu Feng, this brat really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. It's the first time I've seen someone so eager to die. And Gu Feng goes to the envoy, and he starts patting the envoy's shoulder, and is saying to him, I say, the envoy isn't really angry, right? So petty? And as soon as everyone sees this thing, they are very shocked. And the envoy is saying, for centuries, no one has ever dared to touch me during the proclamation of the divine decree. You really are young and capable. I admire you. Few it seems the divine king indeed has a keen eye. So young, yet both virtuous and skilled, truly an outstanding talent among the younger generation of the Eastern Domain. And Gu Feng gets surprised, and he says, Envoy, but I only have the cultivation of Qi condensation stage 3. And the envoy says, that's not important. Ahem, Gu Feng, receive the decree. By the Divine King's decree, Gu Feng of Haoran City is appointed as a contributing officer to the Yukuan Palace, with a monthly salary of 500 high-grade spirit stones. And as soon as the soldiers hear this, they are surprised, and they are saying, how did he become an official? And get paid? Could it be that our city lord is related to the Divine King? Otherwise, why? Then we see the second uncle, who starts vomiting blood after listening to the envoy's words. And he is saying, what qualifications does this brat Gu Feng have? And the envoy is saying to Gu Feng, congratulations, young friend. By tradition you should follow me back to Yukuan Palace to assume your post, but with your current cultivation. And Gu Feng says, is there something wrong with my excellent cultivation? But the envoy says, our excellent cultivation. I'm afraid you won't withstand the endless gales of the heavenly outer realm. This matter can only be postponed. When your skills improve, someone will come to fetch you. And the envoy gives a box to Gu Feng, and he further says, in this box is a heavenly grade elixir called 3-pattern clear spirit pill. For cultivators below the nascent soul stage, it has the miraculous effect of cleansing the marrow and refining the essence. The Divine King specially ordered me to give this to you. And Gu Feng says, the Divine King's favor is truly overwhelming. How can I accept such a generous gift? And Gu Feng is thinking, what a great item. It's obviously a celestial grade elixir. Could the Divine King be my golden finger? And the envoy says, on the 2nd day of the 10th month next year, the Divine King will host the celestial grand duel. During this event, the Divine King hopes you will shine and not let down his expectations. Having completed my task, I must return to the Yukuan Palace to report to the Divine King. I cannot stay any longer. Farewell, young friend. And Gu Feng is a little confused. And he is saying, what is this celestial grand duel all about? And Yi Tianqian says, Brother Gu doesn't know? The celestial grand duel is a combat event held by the Divine King every 100 years. It is primarily for young cultivators from the 12 imperial cities of the Eastern Divine Continent. Those who place in the top 3 usually receive valuable rewards. However, each imperial city only has 2 participation slots. With many prodigies within the cities, the celestial grand duel always incites fierce competition among the major families' prodigies, making it extremely dangerous. The 2nd day of the 10th month marks another centennial cycle, and the next grand duel is imminent. And Gu Feng is saying, the fox's tail is showing. And Yi Tianqian says, whose tail? And Gu Feng says, no one's tail is going to stop me from reaping benefits. Then Gu Feng asks the envoy to wait for a while, and he says, "You still have treasures you haven't given me." Then we see a scene from another place, where both the envoy and Gu Feng are sitting. And Gu Feng is saying to the envoy, "Please allow me to say a few more words. The Divine King and I are close friends despite the age difference. He appreciates my talents, and I respect his high moral standing. In fact, I never intended to make this relationship public. During our private interactions, he has always rewarded me generously with spirit stones and treasures, and I remember each one. However, why is it that this time, the Divine King only gave me a single pill? It's quite peculiar, isn't it? Could it be that some daring subordinate of yours has embezzled part of the reward? I don't mind, but this puts you, envoy, in a position of disloyalty and injustice, openly slapping you in the face." And the envoy says, "Enough? I'm not that naive. If the Divine King didn't truly value you, you would have been dead by now." And Gu Feng says, "Hee, you must be joking. The Divine King wouldn't just give me a single pill, would?" And the envoy says, "Fine, you're bold, courageous, and shameless enough. This item is called the Bright Moon Shuttle, a rare flying sword of the celestial grade." And as soon as Gu Feng sees the treasure, he is very happy. He becomes happy. Then the envoy gives Gu Feng the treasure, bright moon in the sky, extreme, traversing the void, unstoppable in slaying foes. And the envoy stands up, and he says, "With this, you'll have an edge in the grand celestial tournament. If you survive, don't forget today's kindness." And Gu Feng says if the envoy could bear to part with a nascent soul-level spirit beast as well, that would be even better. And in reply the envoy says, "If you want it, take it." Then the envoy leaves from here. And Gu Feng is going sitting on the beast, and he is speaking to Yi Tianchen, "Sister Yi, how do you like the spirit beast bestowed upon me? Everyone has heard it, the Divine King has pardoned Yi Tianchen, the execution order has been revoked, and I've been richly rewarded. If there's nothing else, everyone can disperse." And Nalin Yuan Gu Feng says earlier, "I was only following orders. From now on, I'm willing to follow the sequence, ready to die 1,000 times over." So Gu Feng says, "No problem, take care of the injured soldiers' aftermath. Tomorrow at midnight, bring the other 2 captains to see me. Stop pretending to be dead, old man." And second uncle says, "Gu Feng, I admit defeat. Do with me as you will, do you still honor our bet?" So Gu Feng says, "Old man, have you no shame?" "Of course I honor it. I, Gu Feng, keep my word. A man of integrity. I won't break my promise. A year from now, we'll see who's right." And Gu Feng starts going somewhere, taking Yi Tianchen with him. And Yi Tianchen tells Gu Feng she is telling him to slow down. But Gu Feng is moving ahead very fast. Then we see the junior sister, who is saying to them that take me along with you too. Then the scene shifts to the Jade Pavilion. And we see that everyone is partying together and celebrating their victory. And junior sister is drinking too much. And she drinks so much. As soon as she drinks she starts taking off her clothes. And she becomes very happy. But Yi Tianchen gets angry and knocks out junior sister, and she is saying, "So embarrassing. Now I understand why Master forbids you from drinking." And Gu Feng says, "Sister Yi, you and your sister have been running for your lives for so long, living each day with uncertainty. It's good for her to let out the pressure. Shall we find a quieter place to talk?" So Yi Tianchen comes down on the ground. And we see that the servant is taking junior sister to her room. At night, Gu Feng and Yi Tianchen are sitting on the roof and drinking. And Gu Feng is becoming very happy, and he is saying, "If she is wet, then she is ready for bed." What a beautiful poem. I didn't expect you to be so talented, Brother Gu. Oh, writing poetry, even someone like me can manage a bit. And Yi Tianchen says, "Brother Gu, you're too modest. Lowering my head thinking of is gone." And Gu Feng says, "Don't say such depressing things. As long as you're alive, that's what matters most. Have you really not considered staying in Howran City?" And Yi Tianchen says, "I appreciate your kindness, Brother Gu, but I have my own path to follow. The vast world, the Eastern Divine Continent, is just a drop in the ocean. If I want to improve my strength and avenge my enemies, I must venture out. Brother Gu, to the south of Haoyang City lies the southern barbarian desert where demonic cultivators roam. To the west is the Buddhist land of Gannon Western Territory, where the sound of Buddhist chants echoes and compassion is shown to all beings. To the north, the northern desolate land is filled with witchcraft and ghostly sorcery, and the legendary boundless sea, full of hidden treasures. Gu Feng, don't you want to explore these places with me? And Gu Feng is thinking, is she confessing? But Gu Feng says, I'm sorry, Sister Yi. I have my own path to follow. And Yi Tianqian says, I understand, everyone has their own mission to complete. Brother Gu, thank you for your care these past days. I can't thank you enough. This is a sword formation manual I found in an ancient immortal tomb deep in the Qilian Mountains, 300 miles from Huafeng City. Study it well, and you will gain much from it in the future. And Gu Feng says, I appreciate your kindness, Sister Yi. And Yi Tianqian says, with my talent, I may not fully grasp the sword formation, but if I come to you with this broken sword in the future, don't forget me. I won't forget you, and you shouldn't forget me either. And Yi Tianqian kisses Gu Feng on his cheek. And she smiles looking at Gu Feng. Then she starts leaving from here. And Gu Feng gets a little confused. And the system says, our dull-headed goose has caught the eye of a wild woman. Men really can't be left alone for a day, or they'll slip away. And Gu Feng gets angry looking at the system, and he says, you still dare to show up? You useless system that only causes trouble, get lost. But the system says, what? Using someone and then discarding them? Have I been too accommodating, leading you to misunderstand our relationship? But Gu Feng remains silent. Then he says, fine, you're the system, you're the boss. I apologize. And Gu Feng is thinking, one day, I will hold everything in my own hands. The next day, Gu Feng is saying, there's no such thing as a never-ending feast. This time, you're heading far away. Who knows when we'll meet again? Yesterday, the Divine King officially registered you as part of Haoran City. Consider the city half of your hometown now. As they say, better to cherish a pinch of your homeland's soil than 10,000 gold pieces from elsewhere. So, whenever you get the chance, remember to come back home. And Yi Tianqian says yes. Then they leave from here. And Gu Feng is happy. Then the servant says to Gu Feng, young master, what are your plans for today? And Gu Feng says, plans? Of course, I'll be heading back to level up. And the servant says, level up? Another one of your new tricks, young master? At night, Jade Pavilion. Gu Feng is sitting and doing cultivation, and he is thinking, in the path of cultivation, it's all about gathering spiritual energy into the sea, converging all rivers into one. Once the liquid spiritual energy in the spirit sea is condensed into solid true essence, forming the golden core, that's the breakthrough from the chi condensation stage to the golden core realm. With my useless talent and this tiny bit of liquid spiritual energy, I'll never form a golden core, not in a year, not in a lifetime. This overpowered cheat from my cheap mom sounds amazing, but I still don't know what it actually does. Looks like I'll need to rely on pills after all. And Gu Feng eats the 3-stripe pure spirit pill. And he is saying, amazing, no wonder the Divine King gave me this pill, the spiritual energy inside is incredible. It's like years of cultivation packed into one pill. Then we see the treasure given to Gu Feng by his mother, which is with him. It starts absorbing the power of the pill. And Gu Feng gets very shocked to know what is happening to him. And he is saying, why is all the pill's energy being absorbed by that thing? Hey! Stop it! It's even draining my chi condensation stage cultivation. Every time I cultivate, something goes wrong. Maybe it's easier just being a waste. I can hold on a little longer using the surrounding spirit stones, but if I don't figure something out soon, I'm done for. Could it be? And then a screen opens in front of Gu Feng, the heavenly fetus technique and immortal grade technique. This technique? Otherwise, their dad's foundation will collapse, and their meridians will shatter. Take heed! Take heed! And seeing him, Gu Feng says, there's. Focus on the life gate. Concentrate the spirit into the chi cavity, breathe deeply, and ignite the vital force, inhale, and unite all realms within. Gather essence inward, follow the Tao, and let the stars shift. And then Gu Feng starts feeling extreme pain, and a lot of energy starts coming out of him. And Gu Feng is saying, "What the heck is going on? This cultivation technique doesn't seem like something a normal person could handle." Then we see the treasure, which starts absorbing all the spiritual energy. And after a while, his treasure becomes calm now. And because of this, Gu Feng also stops feeling pain. And he gets surprised, and he is saying, "Did I manage to control it? Although my current Qi condensation third stage is unstable, this innate Tao fetus controlled by the heavenly fetus technique can automatically cultivate for me, and even refine my body and Tao foundation. Though my cultivation speed hasn't changed much, this body of mine is growing stronger. With this, I've added another layer of security to my plans." Then the scene shifts. And we see Nailan Yuan, and he is saying, "No matter the reason, being late is always annoying." And Lu Jin says, "Just calm down. The young lord must have his reasons for being late." And Feng Feishue says, "But it's a matter of principle. If he respected others, he would." And Gu Feng says, "Would you do what?" But Feng Feishue gets angry with Gu Feng. And Gu Feng is saying, "My apologies, everyone. The affairs of Haoran City have kept me busy. I couldn't free myself earlier." And Lu Jin says, "No need to explain, young lord. Feng Feishue is just impatient by nature." And Nailan Yuan says, "Exactly. With such fine immortality before us, it's clear the young lord cherishes talent. Even if we waited half an hour, it wouldn't be in vain. In fact, even if we had to wait a day, a week, or a month, it'd be worth it." And Feng Feishue is thinking, bootlickers like this are disgusting." And Feng Feishue says, "Let's just get straight to the point. The military camp has enough to do without wasting time." And Gu Feng says, "I like your straightforwardness, Commander Feng. Today's gathering is to discuss a small matter. Taking something out, as you know, our eastern domain will soon be at war again with the southern barbarian demons. Recently, it's likely that demon spies have infiltrated the city to gather information. The Divine King, who is close to me, has warned me multiple times to increase patrols and be vigilant against these spies. Better to kill 1,000 innocents than let one spy escape. My father is currently in seclusion, attempting to break through, so he's unable to manage the city. As a member of the family's inner circle, I feel it's my duty to act. I intend to establish a new military unit specifically for patrols, arrests, and intelligence gathering. But I'm short on capable hands, which is why I'm reaching out to you, the 3 generals, hoping you can spare 1,000 troops to support this effort. It would benefit the Eastern Domain, and I'd be able to report back to the Divine King." And Lu Jin is thinking, as expected, this kid is trying to seize control of the Dragon Guard army under the guise of the Divine King's orders. How should I respond to retreat unscathed today? The young lord's loyalty to the family is as clear as the sun and moon. All my troops are at your disposal, young lord. And Lu Jin gets shocked after listening to Nailan Yuan. And Feng Feishue says, "I have no issues with it either. If there's nothing else, I'll be taking my leave." And when Gu Feng asks Lu Jin, he says, "I wouldn't dare refuse." Then Nailan Yuan says, "Young lord, I have something else to say. Since you're setting up this new unit, surely you're in need of a capable leader for it. I humbly nominate myself." And Gu Feng says, "You're not suitable. I've already chosen Commander Feng." And Fa Feishue says, "As long as the rations and pay are delivered, I have no objections." And Jiolong says, "Why bother with all this trouble? You could just use the City Lord Command Seal to suppress them more efficiently." And Gu Feng says, "I'm not cut out for killing. And you're not cut out for managing people." And Jiolong says, "Do you have a crush on that Commander Feng?" And Gu Feng gets a little surprised on hearing this, and spits out the tea. And Jiolong says while leaving, "I'm not good at managing people, but you're not good at wooing girls. If you want some tips, come to my room tonight." At night we see Gu Feng sneaking into Jiolong's house and thinking, Jiolong called me over so late at night. Could it be he has some secret cultivation manual to teach me? Laugh all you want, but out of everyone, Jiolong is the most reliable. No one's here? Is he too shy to teach me something like this? Then when he looks ahead, he sees a book. He picks it up and starts reading it and says, whatever, I probably have a natural talent for this kind of cultivation. I'll learn it on my own. And the name of this book is, The Rich Lady Fell in Love with Me. And Gu Feng is very surprised. Then he says, I shouldn't have expected much, come to think of it, it's been a while since I seriously focused on making money. Then the scene shifts. And we see two people, Wenxiang Pavilion shopkeeper Ouyang Jing, Wenxiang Pavilion attendant Chinner Wang. And Chinner Wang says, shopkeeper, do you remember what I told you back then? You said there's no business in Haoran City that can compete with the Treasury Pavilion. And what did you say? You said we run elections, so why should we care about some loan business? But look at us now. And Ouyang Jing says, it's embarrassing. How am I supposed to face the elders of the Wanxiang sect when I return? Who would have thought that Wenxiang Pavilion, the commercial giant that monopolized the four great states of Kanglan Star, would struggle to attract customers in Haoran City? And Chinner Wang says, sigh. Maybe we should move. And Ouyang Jing says, no way. We can't give up. What kind of business just lets people sign a soul contract and gives them spirit stones to spend without paying back? There's something fishy here. I, Ouyang Jing, refuse to lose. And Chinner Wang is saying to Ouyang Jing, come on, shopkeeper, show them the power of the Wanxiang sect's top business prodigy. A few moments later, Ouyang Jing is coming to Chinner Wang, and she is saying, Chinner Wang, shopkeeper, we're rich. Longevity Palace essential oils, Butterfly Valley's fragrant powder, Medicine King Mountain's face masks, Heavenly Craftsman Workshop's sandalwood sculptures, all at 50% off. And Chinner Wang gets surprised on hearing this, and he is saying, shopkeeper, where did you get the money to buy all this? And Ouyang Jing says, the people at Treasury Pavilion were really nice. I signed a few papers, and they gave me 10,000 spirit stones to spend however I wanted, and they said there's no rush to repay it. And Chinner Wang says, I'm going to be the first shopkeeper in Wenxiang sect's 1,000-year history to go bankrupt. And Ouyang Jing says, as much as I hate to part with these treasures, do you think I can still get a refund? And Chinner Wang says, I don't know. I don't want to hear about it. I just want to go back to the sect. Move aside. I got here first. Don't try to cut in line. Then we see some people who are saying, don't push. Someone's going to get hurt. Can anyone read this? Is this another recruitment notice? Requirements are as follows: gender, male, female, or otherwise, no restrictions. Race, human, demon, ghost, shaman, all are welcome. Background, freelance cultivators or members of sects are acceptable. Those restricted by sect rules, please consider the consequences yourself. The only requirement, you must possess extraordinary skills and talents. Those who meet this condition may go to any branch of the Treasury Pavilion in Haoran City to register, and receive a qualifying scroll for the talent selection. Limited to 1,500 people. First come, first served. Participants will receive a minimum monthly salary of 500 mid-grade spirit stones. Greater talent will receive no capon compensation. Signed, Haoran City Sequence 1, Gu Feng. And a man is saying, this Gu Feng really knows what he's doing. And Chinner Wang looks at Ouyang Jing, but she is not there, and Ouyang Jing is running away, and she is saying, don't you dare try to stop me. I'm getting in on this. Then we see a shopkeeper. And he is saying, whoa, quite the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, though our Treasury Pavilion is already quite well known far and wide, there are still some formalities that need to be addressed before we proceed. But the crowd is saying, we get it. It's all about the pies. The more you work, the more you get paid. No limit to the earnings. And don't forget the wolf culture. The boss is the wolf leader, and we're all wolf cubs. We haul together, and everyone gets a share of the meat. You think you're so smart. Do you even know about the 5 dangers, 1 gold nugget? Of course. I also know about the 9 to 5, weekends off, and the 13th month salary. And seeing those people fighting, the shopkeeper is thinking, this sounds like gibberish. But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. And the shopkeeper says, since everyone is aware of the Treasury Pavilion's generous benefits, let's officially begin the recruitment. Here are 50 recruitment forms. In half an hour, I'll be waiting in the inner hall for those lucky enough to earn a spot. And they start fighting again, and they are saying, I paid 500 spirit stones to find out that there's only one rule to getting those forms, grab them. Bet you didn't know that, you fool! And all the people's eyes are shining, and a servant says to the shopkeeper, Shopkeeper, the talented individuals recommended by various factions have completed the first trial in the back garden. 7 candidates were selected, and the shopkeeper is thinking, I wonder how many talents the young masters will fancy this year. They say if I recommend 15 core talents, I'll get promoted from grade C3 to grade C2, with a 30% salary increase. If I finance the new flying sword 3,000 in installments, that peach blossom fairy from West City said she'd be willing to cry sitting on it. But then a sword comes flying and hits the shopkeeper from behind, seeing which the shopkeeper gets angry and says, Who the hell summoned a flying sword? That's going too far. My long beard has charmed thousands of fairies. Where's the enforcement team when you need them? And we see that it is Ouyang Jing, and Ouyang Jing is saying, Anyone who blocked me will die. And Chinner Wang is also with Ouyang Jing. And they are all those people. People get ready to fight. And they start moving forward. And we see many more people, and they are saying, Brothers and sisters of Wuji Sword Sect, listen up. The sect has ordered us to snatch at least 10 or 8 of these talent qualification spots today. Form the Wuji Sword Array, and there are many more people like this who are saying, You think your Wuji Sword Sect has more people? 5 Poison Sect disciples, follow my lead. Release the poison mist. And they are fighting very hard. Then we see a soldier who is saying, Commander Feng, shouldn't we step in? And Feng Feishue is saying, There aren't any real experts here. Let them tire themselves out. I rarely get time off, and yet I'm dragged out here to maintain order. I'm not cleaning up after that Gu Brat's mess. Let the enthusiastic ones handle it. Then we see Gu Feng and he is saying, Who's the bastard talking behind my back again? Steward Wu, has the recruitment notice been posted? And the servant says, Yes, young master. All 206 shops have put it up as per your instructions. But we've been burning through our recent spirit stone income to cover this. Our accounts are already tight. And Gu Feng says, Do you know what's the most important thing in business? And Jiolong says, It's talent. And Gu Feng says, That's completely wrong. In business, advertising is key. But Jiolong says, If you want to kill someone, young master, just say it directly. No need to be so roundabout. What ads? Which cultivator belongs to that faction? Kill them casually if you must. And Gu Feng says, It's all about fighting and killing with you. Business thrives on harmony, don't you get that? By the way, how's the progress on the construction of the new military camp? In a few days, those 1,000 soldiers promised by Lu Jun will be here. So the servant says the workers have been instructed to speed up. It should be completed in 2 or 3 days. But Commander Feng seems to have some concerns. And Gu Feng gets a little surprised on hearing this. Then the scene shifts. And Feng Feishue is telling Gu Feng, Young master, the new camp is being built according to the standard for 1,000 soldiers. And Gu Feng says there are facilities for accommodation, training, logistics, and internal management. Moreover, we've included an underground prison and various defensive formations for detention and interrogation. The overall design is comprehensive. What seems to be the issue? And Feng Feishue says, Actually, there's no issue with the plan. It's just, personally, And Gu Feng says, I get it. You want a luxurious private quarters? No problem, we can expand on the left side of the standard camp. But Feng Feishue refuses, and Gu Feng says, Then you want an armory? That's in the second phase of the design. And Feng Feishue holds Gu Feng's hand and she says, Young Master Gu. It's not those things. The camp only has a men's bathing area. And Feng Feishue comes very close to Gu Feng. And seeing this she gets shy. And leaves Gu Feng's hand, and she says, After training, my soldiers and I always need to wash up and change. Without proper facilities, it's really inconvenient. And Gu Feng says, I see, Commander Feng, why not come to my pavilion to wash up? We've got everything here. Baths, massages, full body care, facial treatments, even more. Then we see someone he is wearing a black cloth. And then a soldier sees him and he says, who goes there? The pavilion is a sealed estate for the sequence. Unauthorized individuals are not permitted entry. And we see that it is Li Zongwen. And she is saying, it's me, Li Zongwen from the Artifact Division. I have urgent matters to discuss with the young master. And the soldier says, please wait here while I inform the steward. And then Gu Feng flies and collides with the soldier. And he falls on top of the soldier, and he is saying, hee, it's quite lively here, isn't it? Hey! Aren't you that? Li Zongwen's what brings you here? And Li Zongwen says, young master? The artifact project you ordered. It's finished. The Immortal Spirit Communicator. It's ready for mass production. And Gu Feng gets surprised and he says, is it really completed? And Gu Feng starts looking at the smartphone, and he gets very surprised. And he is thinking, from the looks of it, it seems interesting. But I wonder if it really fulfills my design. And Gu Feng is shaking him and looking at him, and he is saying, heh, so. How do you turn this thing on? So Li Zongwen says, turn on a chicken? Why would you use an artifact to operate a chicken? And Gu Feng says, it has nothing to do with chickens. I meant, how do you use it? How do you operate it? And Li Zongwen says, young master, you just need to channel your spiritual energy into it. And Gu Feng is looking at the smartphone carefully. And Gu Feng gets very confused after seeing the smartphone. And we see that a loading option is visible on the smartphone. Then Li Zongwen is saying, it was you who mentioned before. About establishing branding. And then a soldier says, the artifact speaks on its own? Could it be a top-tier treasure with a sentient artifact spirit? And Gu Feng says, top-tier treasure? Ha! That's nothing. Soon, the entire cultivation world will line up to buy young master's Immortal Spirit Communicator. All the functions I mentioned, no issues with any of them, right? And Li Zongwen says, all tested and functioning perfectly. Voice communication, enabled by the sound storage array. Calling capabilities via the transmitting array. Visual display through the Mystic Light Mirror Array. Total cost is around 300 low-grade spirit stones. Even the shared flying sword function is fully operational in the beta version. Additionally, here, as per your design, I've added a small spirit gathering formation that connects directly to the embedded Grand Heaven Soul Snaring Array. I'm not entirely sure why you wanted to include this demonic cultivator's soul siphoning array that absorbs other spiritual power. But with mass-produced wooden puppets, enhanced precision in puppet limbs, and modular array setups, and after listening to Li Zongwen's words, Gu Feng is thinking, the most critical part has been resolved. It's done! Then Gu Feng pats Li Zongwen's head and tells her, well done! Now don't pry into things that don't concern you, kid. And Li Zongwen becomes very happy with this, and she is saying, rewards and all. It's not necessary. I just enjoy working on these things. My colleagues at the department are great too. But when she looks ahead, Gu Feng is not in front of her. And Gu Feng is running very fast, and he is saying, I'm soaring to the heavens. Nan! And seeing this, Li Zongwen is very surprised. But she also thinks, the young master likes my creations. And Gu Feng is thinking while looking at the smartphone, the prototype from this morning is fully functional. We should be ready for the first full-scale test. Then Gu Feng starts shouting Jiolong's name very loudly, and Jiolong hears this and says, stop shouting, I'm here. And Gu Feng is thinking, now, the most important component. My life soul imprint. As long as I use this as a medium to link myself to the Grand Heaven Soul Snaring Array, today, I'll run a test, and when the spirit energy network is fully established, whenever someone uses their spiritual energy to operate the Immortal Spirit Communicator, I'll be able to quietly siphon off a small amount of their spiritual power. Then Gu Feng starts using his spiritual power, and starts putting his power inside the smartphone. And he is thinking, although the energy taken each time will be minuscule, as long as the user base is large enough, it won't be a problem at all. Step 1: Make sure every cultivator in Howran City has one. But before that, there seems to be a rather serious issue that I need to deal with. After this, the scene shifts. And we see a place where someone's voice is coming from, and this voice is of Li Zongwen. And she is speaking to Gu Feng, young master. I won't dare do it again. After some time, Li Zongwen is speaking, tonight, I'll immediately replace young master image as requested. And Gu Feng comes to her and says to her, good, you'll be in trouble if you try to act naughty again next time. And Gu Feng takes out something, which means it is a kind of cloth. And he gives it to Li Zongwen and is speaking to her. By the way, here's a new silk scarf from the southern borders. It's rare, so I'm giving it to you. Get some rest and don't stay up too late tonight. And holding that thing, Li Zongwen becomes very happy because that thing is a gift for her which someone has given her for the first time. And she becomes very emotional. And she is saying, how did anyone else know it was my birthday? I'm so happy. Then the system says to Gu Feng, didn't know you'd spend so many spirit stones just to make a little girl smile? And Gu Feng says to the system, you know nothing. Once immortal spirit communicators are widespread, and apps like shared flying swords, lone treasure pavilions, and other conveniences are launched, I won't need to cultivate at all anymore. Let me, the so-called useless heir only known for trivial skills, ruthlessly harvest the entire cultivation world's resources. To break through to the Golden Core realm in just a year? Ha! After this, the scene shifts. And we see the scene of the next day, where Gu Feng is with Feng Feishue, and Gu Feng is laughing, and seeing his laughter, Feng Feishue is saying, what a silly name, no idea why you're so happy about it. And Nalin Yuan is with Feng Feishue, and he is saying, young master, the name you gave is elegant yet unassuming, grand yet simple, and destined for greatness. So Gu Feng says, all right. Did you prepare the uniforms as I requested? And Nalin Yuan says, I've fulfilled your orders without fail. The finest textile academy completed them all today. Then a soldier comes to Gu Feng, and seeing him, Gu Feng says, this one. It matches the design perfectly, right? And Nalin Yuan looks at Fa Feishue and says, yes, young master. However, I must return to some pressing military matters. I'll leave you and Commander Feng to inspect the base. And we see that both the soldier and Nalin Yuan are leaving. And Gu Feng and Feng Feishue are watching them both leave. Then Gu Feng comes close to Feng Feishue, and seeing this, Feng Feishue also gets very surprised, and Gu Feng smilingly tells her, oh, nothing much. Just checking if the uniforms fit well with the military attire. I had special new uniforms tailored for you and the soldiers. When the review starts, change into it first to set an example. And we see that Gu Feng has given that thing to Feng Feishue, and Feng Feishue is very surprised to see it. And Gu Feng is leaving from that place. And the next day we see that many soldiers gather at one place. And seeing all those people, someone is thinking, what a fierce group of soldiers. Though it's a bit too shabby. Then we see that Feng Feishue is looking at Gu Feng secretly, and Gu Feng sees Feng Feishue and says to her, Commander Feng, come up for the review. And when Gu Feng notices Feng Feishue is very surprised. Then Gu Feng is saying to Feng Feishue, we're giving everyone new uniforms today. If you, the commander, don't set an example, how can I implement this properly? And Feng Feishue says, this kind of clothing? How can I wear this in public? Then she slowly starts coming forward, and she is taking Gu Feng's name, but her legs are trembling. And she is saying, if it weren't for the soldiers. And Feng Feishue gets a little confused. Then Gu Feng tells the soldiers, begin the parade. And as soon as the soldiers hear this, they get very excited, and they start shouting loudly, and they are all saying, the new Qianlong army pays respects to the young city lord. Pay respects to the General Feng. And Gu Feng is thinking, all of these soldiers practice the Qianlong body refining technique provided exclusively by the Gu family. Though the technique isn't the best, they've reached the peak of qi condensation, and some are even in the golden core stage. With this group, there's great potential. And a soldier starts shouting very loudly, and he is saying, brothers, let me keep this brief. From today onward, You are no longer just subordinates of the Chenlong army of Haoran City. From today onward, your honor, your life and death, everything will be tied to me, Gu Feng. And Gu Feng is saying to them, your fate and mine are bound together. Now listen to my order. Put on the robes laid out before you. And all the soldiers are looking at Fan Feishu attentively, and Fan Feishu is also looking like them. And then someone says, from the moment you don those robes, you will be part of the new army I'm building. You will be my brothers in life and death. As my brothers, you will never go hungry or be without proper clothing. Since we are now brothers, we share not just life and death but also fortune. And we see that Gu Feng's servant is running inside. And Gu Feng is saying, I, Gu Feng, am a man of fairness. Anyone who works hard for me will never be mistreated. I know many of you are still loyal to your old units and commanders. That's fine. Forced loyalty is meaningless. Those who want to follow me, step forward and take spirit stones. And then Fa Feishue says, take as much as you can. We will share in glory and heroship together. For those who do not wish to follow, I will not force you. I will consider our paths crossing as fate and bid you well. From here on, life and death will follow destiny. The choice is yours to make. Gu Feng, I hope I haven't misjudged you. And Gu Feng says, I want to create a world where everyone is born equal. And Fan Feishue is completely shocked to hear this. Then we see the scene after some time. Some soldiers and Fan Feishue are going outside. And we see the servant. Who is giving money to the poor children? Then Gu Feng is saying the same thing to Fan Feishue as before, right? This new army shall be called Jinyui. And Gu Feng gives Fan Feishue a token, which she holds. And she is looking at Gu Feng carefully. And Gu Feng is saying to her, ah, and one more thing. Your room has been prepared by the maidservants. The doors of the pavilion close at high hour every day, and Fan Feishue is saying, Commander-in-Chief of the Jinyui, Fan Feishue, respectfully follows the orders of the young master. And Gu Feng says, no women under my roof are allowed to return late. Understood? And Fa Feishue says I have understood completely. After this, the next day we see that a man comes to Gu Feng. And seeing him Gu Feng is thinking, even Qi condensation stage cultivators dare to show up? How did they even get qualified? And then some people come, who start taking that man out, and that man is saying, wait, I can still show my sword flying technique. But Gu Feng's men do not listen to anything and take him out. And Gu Feng also says that is there any next man? And we see that a beautiful girl comes in front of them, and she is saying, esteemed judges, I have a dream, and that is. But Gu Feng refuses after seeing that girl, and he calls another man. And a man comes, who spits fire from his mouth. But Gu Feng does not like this man either, and so he calls the next man. And another man comes in front of him. Even after seeing him Gu Feng refuses him. Then many more people come, whom Gu Feng refuses. Then after some time Gu Feng is now very bored. And he is saying, is there no talent left in Haoran City? Let's just see the last one and call it a day. Then the servant calls candidate number 250. And we see that a bald man comes, and he is saying, coming, is this the interview site? I am Taoist Hoixiao. I greet you, young master Gu. I've often heard that the young master is majestic, with boundless power. Now that I see you in person, it's indeed true. But Gu Feng says enough. What skills do you have? Show them quickly, don't waste my time. So the bald man says I am well versed in astronomy and geography, knowledgeable in the 5 elements, 8 trigrams, and skilled in countless strange arts. I can calculate fate and decipher the mysteries of the universe. What would the young master like me to demonstrate? And Gu Feng says, you're quite impressive, aren't you? And the servant is saying, where did this swindler come from? Before our young master gets angry, you better get lost. But then Gu Feng stops the servant and says to him, if you're so capable, how about you demonstrate your divination skills and tell me my fortune? And the bald man laughingly says, does the young master wish to know about your future prospects or your romantic fate? And Gu Feng says, you decide. But if you're wrong, don't blame me if I get angry. Then the bald man says, "No need to worry, young master. As the son of the city lord, your future is naturally bright and limitless. So, I'll take the liberty of predicting your romantic fate." Then he takes out a turtle's scale, and throws it on the ground. And Jiolung finds something interesting seeing this. And the bald man says that now it is about to start. And he throws the turtle's scale upwards, but the scale breaks into many pieces and we see that all the turtle's scales fall down. And seeing this the bald man also gets a little surprised, but Feng is saying, "Speak without fear." But the bald man is laughing and saying, "The first half of the reading is auspicious, but the second half is filled with great misfortune." And Feng gets angry on hearing this, and he says, "A big fortune? If you can explain yourself, I'll have you thrown in the dungeon as a swindler." But then the bald man uses his other skill, and he says, "Please don't rush, young master. Look at this. Even with gold, one cannot buy a love poem, silent feelings unspoken, joys and sorrows vanish in a day, one tribulation leads to sacrifice on the path of yin and yang." And Feng gets surprised on hearing this, and he says, "Now even scammers are getting poetic?" And this is where this part ends. If you want to see the next part, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to press the like button and at least comment so that I can know your reaction whether you like to see this kind of manhwa or not.